you need to score around 55 questions on a minimum correct for you to qualify prelims, right? How do you actually improve your logic and elimination techniques is actually the million-dollar question here, because this is where the magic actually occurs. Now, how do you improve it? If you look into the 6 pillars, you can see that the one-on-one mentorship which should be taken by me would be actually focusing more on the logical and elimination techniques. Now, how to deal with extreme statements. Now, when I explain the logic, I'm not going to be limiting myself to the PYQs alone. Rather, I'll be using my own made-up questions to actually teach you how to apply your logic. See you all tomorrow at exactly 7 p.m. for the orientation of Dominant Prelims, wherein you'll be focusing on the importance of joining on the July batch, also on how to improve your logical and elimination techniques as well. Good day everyone, Sreejay here. As I usually do my introduction, let me ask you a very simple question regarding the same. Now, what is the one thing to do for you to qualify prelims? Now, the answer might seem lame, the answer might seem dumb, but still, you need to score around 55 questions on a minimum correct for you to qualify prelims, right? So here, as you can see the table, I have taken the cutoff to be around 94 here, as you can see here. Now, if you attempt 80 questions, you need to get 55 correct, 25 can be still wrong, you'll get 94. If you attempt 92 questions, you need to get 58 correct, then you will score 94 marks. And if you attempt 100 questions, you need to score at least 60 correct for you to get 94. Now, I have taken the cutoff to be as 94 here because you never know, right? UPSC might delete some questions, UPSC might change some questions. So, to be on the safer side, it's actually safe to say that you need to score at least 60 correct to be on the safer side. Now, the million-dollar question is that how do you get around 60 correct? Now, when you look at here, you'll understand that around 30 to 35 questions we'll get through our knowledge. The rest 15 to 20 questions we'll get by applying logic to our knowledge. But then what actually decides whether you qualify prelims or not? It's basically these 10 to 15 questions that you need to have really good elimination techniques, really good knowledge of the patterns that actually decides whether you get or not. Now, how do you actually improve your logic and elimination techniques is actually the million-dollar question here, because this is where the magic actually occurs. Now, how do you improve it? Okay, actually, if you look into our Dominant Prelims program, we have decided in a manner that you will be able to get it. You will be able to get the 15 or the 10 to 15 questions where you need to have really good knowledge to actually conquer those. Now, if you look into the 6 pillars, you can see that the one-on-one mentorship which should be taken by me would be actually focusing more on the logical and elimination techniques. We have around 20 hours of logical and elimination techniques as a crash course which would be provided to you. I'll show a very brief regarding the same. Also, you'll have a roundtable discussion regarding the same. Now, I'll actually briefly explain what all these pillars are. Now, in the 20 hours of logical discussion, I am going to be teaching you how to apply logic to each and every question, how to actually think in terms of different questions as well. I'll show you an example regarding the same. Now, how to deal with extreme statements. Now, when I explain the logic, I'm not going to be limiting myself to the PYQs alone. Rather, I'll be using my own made-up questions to actually teach you how to apply your logic. Now, let's take a question here. Now, you can see here, this is a made-up question. With reference to Red Sanders, consider the following statements. It is native to India. On the right hand side also the same first statement, but then in the second statement you can see here that it grows in tropical dry deciduous forest. But in the second statement you can see here that it mainly grows in tropical dry deciduous forest. Now, what is the difference here? You know that Red Sanders basically grows in tropical dry deciduous forest, right? Red Sanders grows in tropical dry deciduous forest. So therefore, even if UPSC uses the word mainly, doesn't make a big difference, because you know that Red Sanders mainly grows in tropical and deciduous forest. So when you actually have a connection between A and B, meaning Red Sanders and tropical dry deciduous forest, even if UPSC introduces an extreme word here such as mainly or any other word, it doesn't actually make a very big difference. Okay, so here this statement is correct and also this statement is correct. But then if you actually look into this statement here, Now in this case, we have actually given the word temperate dry deciduous forest here, right? Now the question is, it grows in temperate dry deciduous forest, and here the question is basically it mainly grows in temperate dry deciduous forest. Okay, the question have basically changed. Now what do you think of this statement? Does red sanders grow in temperate dry deciduous forest? Here, is there a connection between A and B? There is no connection between red sanders and temperate dry deciduous forest. But can UPSC say that not even one red sander tree doesn't grow in temperate dry deciduous forest? Can UPSC say that? No, UPSC cannot say that. So therefore, this statement would be correct, because even at least one red sander would be there in any of the temperate dry deciduous forest in the world. UPSC can never prove that, right? So therefore, we can take this statement as correct. But then here, what do you think? UPSC have introduced the word mainly here. Now does red sanders mainly grow in temperate dry deciduous forest? No, because it grows in tropical dry deciduous forest. Now this is the way that actually UPSC tricks you, or makes you think in terms of this logic. So if you have to conclude, let's say state A and B. If there is a direct relation between A and B, even if UPSC introduces the word directly, mainly or significantly, it doesn't matter much. But then if there is no relation between A and B, and then UPSC introduces the word directly, mainly or be it any other, then that statement should be treated as false. Now this is the way I'm going to be teaching you on how to do various questions, especially if you can see here, let's take a PYQ as well. Consider the following statements. In the first statement, you can see here, high clouds primarily reflect solar radiation and cool the surface of the earth. Okay, now here I have basically not used the word primarily here. So in the second statement, high clouds reflect solar radiation and cool the surface of the earth. Now what do you think, which statement is correct here? Is it the first one or is it the second one? We actually know that it's basically the low clouds which actually reflect the solar radiation and cool the surface of the earth, right? So since the word primarily is used here, it's not the high clouds which primarily reflect, it's basically the low clouds which primarily reflect. Therefore this statement is incorrect here. But then what about this statement? Here the word primarily is not there, right? So can UPSC say that high clouds does not even 1% reflect solar radiation and cool the surface of the earth? Can UPSC say that? Not even 1%? No, UPSC can't say that, right? Therefore, since the word primarily is not here, this statement should be treated as correct. Now this is the way I'm going to be teaching you. Also, in order to improve your logic, we have different other techniques which is known as logical elimination techniques. We have around 10 years of PYQ discussion. Also, to improve your content, we'll be focusing on micro themes. We'll be having one-on-one mentorship, beat anything. So on the upcoming webinar, you will have the dominant prelims orientation on Thursday on exactly 7 p.m. wherein we'll be discussing, you should not be joining the December batch. Rather, you should be joining the July batch due to several reasons. Also, we'll be discussing the different techniques that you need to start early, because it's very difficult for actually you to improve your elimination, logical elimination techniques in the last 6 months if you join on December as well. So thank you everyone. See you all tomorrow at exactly 7 p.m. for the orientation of dominant prelims, wherein you'll be focusing on the importance of joining on the July batch, also on how to improve your logical and elimination techniques as well. So thank you everyone. See you all tomorrow.